we've heard this common sentence, people saying like, in order to raise resilient kids, we need to have them fail. So why is resilience important? Why build resilience?
Okay, I 100% agree with that statement. I think it's very, very important to fail in order to learn. The trial and error method is called so for a reason. You make mistakes and then you learn from those mistakes. I believe it's like riding a bike where you try and you fall and you fail until you finally succeed at reaching that balance in life where you can tackle obstacles that come at you.
So what makes a person resilient then? Failing, or what is it?
I think it's something that you learn along the way. I've read about it, and I feel like you can either learn from experience, your own personal experience, or you can be taught by a parent or by your environment.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
And if I want to put like certain characteristics for a resilient person, what would, like, a few adjectives to describe this person?
I think a resilient person, one of my favorite characteristics is that they are empathetic, which is very, very, very important to me. To feel empathy and to empathize with somebody, you can only do so once you have been in their shoes and you've made that mistake and you've learned, and then you know where that person is coming from.
Yeah.
You can put yourself in that person's shoes and look at things from their perspective. And realize why that person is saying what he's saying, or why she's doing what she's doing.
So it's not like I have like strong muscles, I'm resilient. It has nothing to do with it.
Mentally strong muscles.
Mentally strong, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, because that's important to highlight the importance and to understand the real meaning of resilience.
Right.
Okay. Anything else about like certain characteristics of resilient children?
I think along with empathy as well, like kindness is really important in children or just people in general who.
So kindness from which side? Our side as
from
parents,
being
or
kind
to others?
To others,
okay.
Right? I think that's very important as well.
Yeah.
Another feature I would say is a child can form their own opinions once they learn, and I think we need to teach kids to learn to be independent from their own opinions, and then they can figure out how to go about life and not depend on somebody else to choose for them.
Yeah. Tamsin, how do you think resilience is related to a person's successful life personally and professionally?
Okay. Personally, and I think it goes a little hand in hand, right?
Yeah.
For both personally and professionally, I think for kids, I feel like they can maintain a good relationship both with their parents and with their professional life in the future.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So you think it is important? Like, what if I lack resilience? Does this affect me on a long run as in terms of mental health issues or depression, or like how does it affect negatively if I lack resilience?
I think it does affect you eventually, not being able to understand where another person comes from. You're always going to put yourself first, and I think that's another feature for resilient kids as well, where you don't put yourself first, you try to look at things from someone else's perspective. Building resilience is very important, and it's something that you learn along the way. So trial and error method again, you make your mistakes, you learn, and in the future when it comes to mental health, I think a resilient person understands self-care better than a person who isn't as resilient.
Yeah. So this is basically the first part of what resilience is, and now we will move to the parenting part. So when it comes to children, how do we explain resilience?
So
to them, like if my child comes and asks about this word, like this term, what do I say?
Well, we could start by teaching them that it is something that they can learn naturally, as well as you being their support system continuously through life. I feel like communication is the utmost key. Communicating with your child is
Communicating,
very,
yeah.
very important.
On all aspects, I
Right,
agree.
on
totally.
every aspect.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like communication is enough. I feel
Mm.
like as a parent and as a child, both parties have to listen to
Yeah.
each other. You can communicate and you can talk as much as you want, but unless you listen and you understand
Exactly.
the issue, then nothing's gonna be solved.
So communicating and listening to one another, this is
Right.
one major thing. And maybe as we mentioned earlier, that failing is okay. So
Right.
the child maybe needs to know that it's okay to fail, you will learn.
You will
right?
learn from it.
Yeah.
One very, very important thing that I've learned growing up is school pressure,
Mm.
which I've seen, which is very common even today, and it puts so much stress on the child because not just parents, but it's survival of the fittest, right,
Yeah.
in this world. And parents, teachers, your uncles, aunts, family, everyone is constantly getting you to compete with one
Yeah.
another, and everything is a competition where I don't feel like a child is truly going to school to learn for his or her own benefit. It's to pass or to compete with somebody else.
Yeah.
And I think we need to stop letting children believe that that's the only way to learn.
Yeah.
So it's okay if your child fails a class.
Yeah.
You learn from
Absolutely.
it. It's okay if you fail a math paper. I did.
Me
Not
too.
gotten better at math,
Many
but
times.
yeah. So
Yeah.
you learn from it eventually, and
Exactly.
you make your mistakes. You grow.
Yes. Okay. So if a mom comes and asks you, like, I need a 1, 2, 3, how do I apply raising my child into becoming a resilient adult or human? You know, what are the first basic steps? Yes, we talked about listening, communication, failing. What else? Like in everyday life, what are certain maybe words that we can use to encourage them?
Okay. The second thing that I can think of is, and I've read this in a research paper, is asking your child how something happened and not
Yeah.
why they did it.
Yeah.
So that way you're not pointing fingers at them and you're not saying, why did you do this?
The sense of not to blame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think blaming is helpful at all. You don't
No.
want to make your child feel guilty, because if you do and you put those restrictions on your child, then your child is not going to want to
Definitely.
open up to you.
Definitely.
You're never going to have a normal conversation where your child feels free to talk to you both as a parent and a friend.
Because
So-
he might feel judged already, and
Right, exactly.
that is the wall is set between you.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah, and another thing is, I don't think parents should spoon feed their children, which is very, very common in this culture. In a lot
Like
of
in
cultures.
terms of what? Just let's give us
Um,
specific examples.
Well, for example, if your child is going to, let's say he's going to do a particular activity,
Yeah.
or don't, or for
Prepare the
example,
bag, for example.
laundry.
Laundry, yeah.
Take laundry for
Yeah.
example. I was blessed to grow up in a home where I always had someone do something
Yeah.
for me, but when I had to go live on my own, I
You
struggled.
Of
I
course,
didn't
we all
know how
did.
to do it, and
Yeah.
I had to Google how to do laundry. But it's something that we learn along the way. It's a conversation I've had with my parents
Yes.
later on, and we've both learned from it. For anyone else who's watching this, don't spoon feed your child. Let them learn. Ask them to get more involved in house activities and chores. Yeah. Make them do things, and so that teaches them responsibility. And while they're learning responsibility, if they make errors, they learn from that, and that's how you build resilience at the end of the day.
Yeah, so being responsible is also one main key. I'll give you an example. Yesterday, my son had a field trip, and he prepared his backpack. I did not even know what he put in the bag, and he's only 10, which is amazing, you know, because
Yeah.
this is how I'm helping my child get ready to the world instead
Be
of me.
independent.
Yes, instead of me going
Right.
and putting this stuff for him. No, he
Yeah.
knows how to read, so he has the list.
Yeah.
He knows how to do it, so yeah, it's
That's
fine.
great. Yeah. That's a great example.
Anything else about like?
I think we can also, for parents, I
Mhm.
think it's important for them to not really come across as just a parent who's telling your child what to
Yeah.
do, but talk to your child about your own personal experiences, how you've made errors growing up, because you need to let your child understand that you have lived a similar life.
Exactly.
You've made errors, you've
I
learned
like
from
that.
it,
Yeah.
and you've gotten to a stage in life where you're successful and you're raising your own child. I think if your child looks at it from that perspective and not just you as a parent telling them what to do, what not to do, which is where spoon feeding comes in, I think that's very, very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically this is the end of the second part of our interview, as how we as parents can help our children become resilient.